Okay, now I think you can hear me. Okay, so sorry. There was the microphone that just went off. I have no idea why. Okay. Okay, so can you hear me now? Please let me know. It's important that I know that everything is going well because this is always so tricky. Anyway, as I said, this design talk, it's going to be about design process 2, which is how a car sketch becomes a model, a painted model. And there's a whole process that we'll try to explain to you today. So okay, that's good. Thank you, Ayman. Thank you. I'm still learning. It's kind of difficult, Anyway, I will switch very soon. Let's wait for some people to come so that I can switch to my presentation. I made just a couple of slides that I would like to share with you so that it's going to be easier for you to understand how really this works. So, but meanwhile, if you want to tell me something or ask me a question, just go ahead. We are only 4 people, and that's the reason we're waiting a little bit so that more people will come. How was your week? Was it good? Mine was very, very satisfying. Today is Friday, and that's nice, so that this weekend I can play a little bit my guitar, rest a little bit. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to show you basically what I prepared for you today. And the big question is always the same one. How can we make a sketch? Ciao Vasco, ciao Pina. How can we make Mark Ford. Okay, I understand. All right, good. Thanks for being there. Thanks for being with us. Okay, so Arman, your week was good. I'm very happy for you. So the thing is, how is it possible that a sketch, sketch becomes a model? There are a lot of things that happens between you start the first sketch and then you go to a model stage few months later that a lot of people don't know. So, or that people do in school, but they do in such a short time that everything looks really like very compressed. But in the real life, how is it? So today I prepared a slide that I will show you in a couple minutes, a slide that will show you all the steps we make in general, to make sure that from a sketch that we kind of like, that we choose, how we are able to develop that sketch, which means the designers, okay, which are the steps to make sure that we can make a choice on top of that sketch, and then go little by little onto virtual modeling and then real manual modeling until the beautiful day of presentation with a beautiful painted model that will be shown, of course, to top management for final feedbacks and indications. So this is what we will be talking about today. Now we have other people coming. Isaac, ciao Isaac. And then we have also Ryan, Razvan. Ciao Razvan, how are you? Steph, Dorian, ciao. So people that I know are coming. This is good. Okay, so now I will do something very tricky because I have my screens here in front of me and I have to switch from my screen to my portable PC screen, okay, my desktop screen, so that you can see the slide. Now, I think I prepared everything right, but something wrong might go wrong. So, first of all, let me do something, okay, I do like that. Then I go like that. Then I will pick up, let me find my presentation, which is this one. Okay. Until now, so far so good. Then I'm doing this, so that now you should see my screen. Okay. And I go like that, and I'm prepared like that. So now I think that I made every step correctly, okay? So the only thing, I cannot see your comments now, all right? So because I cannot see your comments, you have to, you have to be patient just in case you communicate with me, but I see that everything looks pretty nice. So as you can see, we have basically 7 steps, okay, in our design process. And we have, the first step is the ideation sketching, which is with concept design sketching is almost 1 month. And what does it mean? This is the time where we start making sketches. As you can see, I used some of my sketches to try to illustrate to you the very early stage of sketching, okay? And this is nice because it is a way for everybody to exercise on a given project, on a given briefing, lots of ideas without being really obsessed with the macro feasibility or feasibility. It's a kind of blue sky little bit of step, it's gonna last about 1 week, 2 weeks. And this is a way for design directors, their teams, their designers, to have a very good ideation and creativity expression. Because when we start a project, of course, what we're looking for creativities. So that's ideation sketching and the brainstorming step. It's very important to get out of ourselves and our designers a pure creativity, okay, a pure creative step. And this is very good because we find things that can be really, really interesting to be used, to be pointed out when we will develop concepts before we make their choices. So as we move on, okay, we start going into a phase where we have to take the concept and we look at that concept in a closer way. So we really start thinking about its design, the way the fenders goes, the side, the proportions, some detailing. And we are starting also, how can I say, we are also starting to put into that some important elements that give us sort of a macro feasibility feeling. So our sketch, our ideation, our concept becomes much more credible, okay? Until we choose one and we decide that that one or 2 or 3, but until we decide that those concepts can be transformed into virtual modeling. So all this stage, as you can see, it's about 2 months from the ideation sketch, as you can see on the screen, until the end of the concept or the concepts that we are ready to present. All that, this phase here, this step, okay, this period of time, it's a freehand sketching done first on paper. So this is important that you know. And this is also done, of course, digitally on Photoshop or Illustrators, whatever. So you understand that that's the core, the most important part of any project. It's how can I say, probably the most naive period of their time, of designers' time, but it's the best time when the really nice ideas, good creativity can come out, okay? Always thinking, of course, about the project briefing, the functionality, the market, the size, the macro feasibility, especially during concept development stage, so toward the end of that month. And when we are ready to do that, what do? Do we give all our sketches, all our drawings, the most important ones, we give them to a colleague or a team of colleagues that work on Alias, which means they work virtual modeling. And they need us also, of course, but they will be making the job. And what happens is that we start, okay, developing the process of Alias modeling. Now, In China, we have three names for these three steps, okay? It's called Alias C surface, Alias B surface, Alias A surface. In Europe, in America, Alias A surface, we know it's very important toward the end. We will see later. But Alias C, Alias B, in reality, it's just one single step that is a continuous evolution in terms of macro and micro feasibility, which is a period during which we will have lots of loops with our engineering department, okay? Starting Alias C, we start to interact a lot with the engineering department. As you remember, or you might remember, as we said last week when we talked about the macro design process, how a sketch becomes a real car. So here we start getting to the famous engineering design loops during which we exchange a lot of info. We have to make some modifications. Then we have to apply some modifications because design is making pressures, putting pressure on them, and sometimes it's also vice versa. So this is the Alias C virtual 3D modeling. And this is very important. It's the real beginning. Of course, we use all this also to do presentation to our boss. And when we have something that looks really nice, that we really believe, our design director or manager might ask us also to make a milling of that model, maybe in smaller scale or in a big scale. And what do? We just get, a nice foam model, which is milled out, which is not very expensive, but it's generally is a white foam. And in that way, we really discover the mass, the proportions. That milling is not to show the whole design of the car. It's really to show the mass. How is it proportioned? Do we have to apply major correction to have a virtual model? So that's a very clever moment, very important, because it's thanks to that period there that we can feel like we keep control, we gain control of our model, and also what it means, to interact with our engineers when we can show them a real model, even if it's just a foam model. Okay. So we have few months, that we make those loops. Generally, it's, the first part is around 3 months, 4 months. And then we have other 4 months, during which our virtual model becomes much, much more detailed. And our design, after all corrections, interactions with our teams, with our presentations, with our design director, with our managers, with official presentations, with the big team and everything, we get feedbacks. And therefore, we don't have anymore just engineering feedback, but we also have feedback from marketing, product planning. We have also feedback from our bosses. So it's normal. Therefore, designers have to integrate and mix all those feedbacks to update their Alias model with the Alias modelers. And we get to a new step, which is this one, where you can see that the model becomes much more detailed. It's starting to look like a real car. And this is important because it means that there's also macro feasibility that is becoming micro feasibility. This means that we are injecting a lot of important elements that are cost efficient, that technically are correct, that respect the major budget that design has available, but also the budget of the project. So you understand we are getting into a more, a much more detailed period of life of this project. And then what do? We mill out a clay model, full scale, as you can see in this beautiful image from BBC and Ford studio. Okay, this is very famous image. We can see a lot on Instagram, on Google, but also on some articles that we read on some websites. And there you can see there is a team, there is the designer, there is a design manager. They're all working together to make sure that they are checking feasibility, they are checking surfaces, the quality of those surfaces, and of course they are getting ready to get into the last part, the last part of this design process, which is the most important part, the A-class alias modeling, where the surfaces become almost frozen, which means everything is set, everything is decided for everything. And this means that we are ready to end this part of this first year and a half of the project to get into the pre-production period. And this means that, as I explained to you last week, designers and design manager, until this step, until the final model, they are very important into the process. After they become just a support, mainly design management rather than designers. So what happens next? Next we have a much more detailed virtual model that is fully rendered. There is animations, film, lots of checks, lots of loops, lots of modifications, but they are very fine. There's really fine tuning, really ultra small refinements on details like millimeters, not very big things, but it's really to give the best quality we can do and we can give to the design and to the surfacing. And of course, when we get to that, we can get to a final clay painted model, like this Ferrari clay model, Ferrari J50, that was presented in 2016 in an auto show, I think, or a museum. I think it was a museum in Italy. Anyway, as you can see from the picture, this is really the most important moment where we all in the team of this project agree that this is going to be the car. And nobody can modify anything. So all this information will be given to all suppliers. We will give them to all engineering process, to our engineers, and then we have just to check that all this will be, that will be really, how can I say, respected and defended by design managers and product planning managers. And then once in a while there will be, of course, some presentations until we get to production. So as you can see, from the beginning, ideation sketching until the final model, we basically have a year and a half, which is exactly what I explained to you last week when we were talking about the full design process until production. So I hope that all this is kind of clear to you. And now I would like, to go back to the other view so that I can read your front cam. Okay, here we are. So now you can see me again, okay? And I think that now I can read again your comments. So talk with Bang, notebook and fresh afternoon maestro. Hey, ciao, Quack, Bao, Tran. I'm here to listen this week's design talk. Okay, I'm very happy for you. Hi, Ruben. Hello to all those people I didn't see. So first of all, did you check? So can you tell me how you feel about this? Do you have any questions to ask me? Because now is the time. I showed you my slides. I think it was kind of clear. I hope it was clear. So please ask questions. I am here to answer. By the way, if you want to offer me a coffee, you have the $sign there for super chat. Okay, I'll be very happy to drink a coffee offered by you. So I'm here to read your questions, if you have any. And if you don't, you know what? I think that I can just tell you, for example, that in the first part of our ideation, that's the time when lots of designers, sometimes designers are a little bit lost, they don't know. It was great. Okay, thank you, Razvan. Thank you. I am glad that my way of presenting is getting better, and most of all, is getting more clear. Okay, to all of you, because I'm really working on that. But I still have to learn how to split my screen. So this is something that for me it's gonna take a little bit of time. But anyway, when we do the ideation, the brainstorming, some people think, but why do we do a brainstorming? Why do we have to sketch things that we know will never be realized because they are not functional and they are not credible? Well, the brainstorming stage, it's very important because it's the best way for everybody to really free your mind and just let your heart and your creativity, speak for you. And this is very important because with that you can start free your head and also find some new, some new creative lines, some new creative surface, some new creative directions that if you didn't go through that step of just freeing yourself and just sketching with lots of fun and love, if you didn't have that, you would be too much blocked in your head with everything is supposed to be feasible. And that's also because it's the work, being at work every day, knowing all the complications that we have on our project. In a way, it's formatting our head. So we must find a way, a trick, something to get out of that formatted head and try to get free. So here there is a question from Ruben. Luciano, I have a question. How to go from a rough design idea to a more defined one in an efficient way? Okay, Ruben, to be honest, every time we sketch light, okay? We do some sketching that is just some lines, and we are just trying to see, if we can find a volume, a proportion, something that is interesting. So it's enough to just put the wheels, the shadow, the volume of that car, check the proportions, and no other details. That's usually the way I do, the way I sketch. Maybe you saw my live on Tuesdays when I sketch with you guys, and you discovered and you see that that's how I start. That's the first step. The second step is, okay, now that I have my volume, where is my door? And the cut lines of the door are important because on the side view will give you better proportion feeling, and will define also the cabin, how you organize your greenhouse. And then of course you have to think about how you make the tree modeling of that front end, your side fender. So little by little, what I want to say is that little by little you get into a more detailed sketch, and you don't do it on the same sketch. You have to trace. Tracing, you can see the steps, and you can go back to the old sketch and see if your new one is better than the old one, or vice versa. You understand? And that's a process, an exercise you can do in order to teach yourself, to learn how you move from something that is very simple to something that becomes the same idea in development. Okay? I hope I answered to your question. Now we have another big question from Method Lever. Hi, are the steps ever changed? Example, clay model after concept sketch, then 3D scan and model afterwards for a smaller product maybe. Dear Mr. Bove, I am El Vasco, studying mechanical engineer. I'm interested in knowing how an engineer can participate in the design team. Okay, so two questions. The first one is from Method. Method, you said if we can invert, sometimes some stages. This can happen, of course, but what I showed you before, it's a classical mainstream, design process, the one that most of people use. Okay, but of course, If a project has a different type of timing, a different type of project, if it's just a simple restyling and not a completely new project, or if it's, how can I say, there is a question or demand, strong demand to make that process really cheap, not to spend too much money, of course a lot of things will be changed. Of course, that's normal. Scanning clay model, it's something I didn't talk about, but it is very important, because when we do the clay model in one-to-one scale, and then we are ready, after modifications, we are ready to apply those modifications on our virtual model, the only way to do it is to scan the clay model. Then that scanning will become a virtual model that will be given to our modeler on screen, and then we will try to copy the sections to update our model so that we can make the correction, of course, on the Alias model. Now, for the engineering, there are other two questions. Okay, first I will answer to El Vasco. El Vasco, you are studying mechanical engineering. If you want to get into the design team as an engineer, it's very hard. We don't have engineers into the design team. Engineers belong to engineering teams, and they work with us. You understand? But there are two different teams, at least for the companies I worked for. Now, maybe in other companies there is, or small studios, design studios, they have the engineer that is expert of technical stuff within the studio with the designer and design manager and design director. This can happen. But in that case, you could be part of it, but you have to find those specific companies, that do that. But in general, big companies don't. I have a question for, okay, so this, Ruben, okay, good. Back in days, they were doing the sketch and after the 3D clay model. Yes, but we always start from sketching. This is 100%, whether they are freehand sketches and then digital, okay, and then, but that's always the start. Sketching, digital or manual, and then you go, of course, in virtual and in real modeling. Always. Merad Memudi. Okay, in my country we don't have transportation design, but we have mechanics and industrial design. Which of those do you think is better to studying? But in your case, industrial designing would be better. The industrial design would be better. But it's hard for me to tell you because I am not in your country. I don't know your country. I think it's a different culture. Because in some countries, when they say design engineer, they think it's design. It's not. Car design is not design engineering. There are two things completely different. One is engineering, one is design. So, but in some countries, like in China, design engineering for them is design. And at the beginning, when I was there, I didn't understand. So now it's clear. But it's a cultural thing. But car design is one thing. Mechanical engineering is another thing. That's for sure. Okay, so, well, we are 23. Once again, I hope that for those that just arrived now, you can go back and check this video next in 24 hours, okay, tomorrow, and you will find that I presented a very, very nice slide that step by step explain this design process too, which is from first sketches until the final clay model or master model, as we want to call it, okay? And so please check this video from the beginning tomorrow when it's possible. I'm from a country near called Iran. Yeah, in Iran it's difficult, yeah. But in Iran you can go to architecture school, because I found few Iranian guys that are in architecture university, and from there they are close to car design because they are car design lovers. Because in architecture they are closer to sketching, even if it's for architecture, it's also for products. And I know that in that university things are changing, also for product design. So you might be interested. You might be interested in that. All right. So any other question? Here I am. So the clay, of course, has 3 steps. The first one also, it's a kind of sketch clay, where people will work a lot on the clay by hand, even if it's already a scale 1-to-1 model. It comes from a virtual model. It's okay. They work on it to make it better with designer. There is a period of time when the designers can really exercise their creativity to improve that 3D. That at the moment it's coming only from virtual modeling. So the clay modeling is very important because it is the artistic modeling moment for a designer and for a clay modeler to bring that artistic touch to the volumes of our car projects. Which exercise do you recommend to be more creative? Hey, Ruben, this is, you ask questions sometimes difficult. To be honest, I have no idea. How do I get creative? By sketching. I don't have a specific thing that I do in order to feel more creative. I don't. So I think it's really more, how can I say, the fact of sketching and the good mood, the good feeling you have inside of your heart, inside of your head. And if you are in a period or a moment or in an hour that you, for a reason or for another, you are not very happy or you are thinking of other things, you have problems, it's better you don't sketch. Let it go. And then you come back. That's probably the best advice that I can give you. Okay? All right. I hope I answer to your question. Okay, now we said that the clay model is very important because we really exercise that modeling creativity, optimization, making those volumes beautiful, checking with the Dianox King, which is a film, a color film that we can display, we can put on the clay and check, the real reflections on that volume, and then work that volume to make sure that we can check again the reflection so that the reflection becomes better, much better than it was before. So that's all a time that is dedicated to the clay to make sure that that clay becomes really beautiful in the volumes, in the reflections, the highlights, the lines, the little details, certain type of sections, how delicate some areas must be compared to others that should be a little bit less delicate. And all that balance it's found when you work, when you work on that clay with your modelers, when maybe you as a designer can touch the clay a little bit and feel it when you touch it with your hands, and then you feel that that's the right surface and that nobody has to touch it anymore. Therefore, you can scan it and pass it onto the Alias model to update your virtual model. Okay, it's a tough question. Yeah, it is. Better to practice on paper or digitally? Paper. Andrew 700. Paper. 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 Yeah, as I explained many times, if you follow my live sketching with you on Tuesday from this channel at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, okay, if you follow my lives, you will see that I always say to everybody, sketch on paper, especially at the beginning, always. Then you go digital. You go digital after, but first you must learn how to work on paper really well, because when you master the technique and you can do anything on paper, when you take a tablet or a Photoshop, you will be the master, the big maestro of that. Hi Shored, good evening to you. Thanks for being with us. So Andrew, I hope I answered to your question. Andrew, also because all the people that don't know how to sketch well on paper and exercise directly on tablet, what do? All the mistakes that they would do on paper, they do it on tablet. With the big difference though, on paper you can correct yourself. You can still, do things to correct yourself and learn from there. On tablet, you can't. So on the tablet, if you have a certain level and of mistakes, you will keep on repeating always the same mistakes. But if you correct yourself on paper, then on the tablet, you will arrive on tablet that you already know the ABC, the right steps to make when you start sketching. Okay, off topic. All right, no problem. Which guitarist would you wish to design a car for? Method, that's nobody, because guitarists, I don't know. I don't feel that they are in love with car design. I think they are more in love with their guitars. Some of them have a lot of money, and they have the typical classical big sports cars, and some others really ugly ones. I mean, I wouldn't even think, to be honest, to think of sketching a car for a guitarist. So, sorry, I don't know what to say. Okay, so that's about clay. So coming back to the various steps. Now, it's very important, the last model, because the last model, what I call the final model, with the paint or with a nice DESIGNTalk painted job, okay? That one becomes the witness, okay, that in the company will be kept for many years of how that project has been frozen in terms of design and also technical solutions. So that model will be replicated twice, because one is static and the other one will probably become a running prototype. And then it will be used for shows, photography, photo session, the photo shooting, to make a buzz, marketing reasons, car shows, presentations. So it's very, very important. Let me see how I understand when I am ready for the digital. Hey, Andrew, when you sketch really well on paper. But I have my students that are following my online course, okay? So Andrew, if you are interested, you can participate, okay? Just write an email to me, lucianobove.com, lucianobove@yahoo.com. I'll write to you here, dear Andrew 700, okay? I'm writing my email. Email me, I'll explain to you how you can participate. There is only 5 euros cost, okay? Then you have my email, and I will explain to you how it works. It's on Thursday. It is at 5 p.m. In France time. I don't know in which country you are, Andrew, but if you are in India, should be around 9:30 in the evening, I believe. And if you are in Europe, then it's much, much easier for you, of course, with the time. And most important thing is that you get a good mastering of your sketching ability by hand. After that, you can start on a tablet, and you can start trying, and that's good. But you never quit the freehand sketching. That's what I wanted to say. Also, because when you learn how to sketch by hand, to use chalk, to use markers, okay, all the sketches I do, the demos, the tutorials I do, if you learn how to do that, when you do the same thing in digital, you know exactly how the shading you have to do it, where you have to put the highlight. You know how your lines, you have to draw your lines. Because digitally, you will be replicating the same thing you learn by hand. Right? Razvan, what's your favorite car? The most beautiful, the best design. Okay, there are 2 cars I really like. 2. If I have to talk about a car that is a supercar, okay? The Lamborghini Countach. Or La Ferrari, you know, the beautiful Ferrari made a few years ago. La Ferrari. Those are the two supercars that I really like. If I have to think about a car that is a normal production car, okay? My favorite is the BMW Series 7. Okay, that's the one I really like. We have a new question from Ruben. We should be more concerned about the quality lying in our first sketches, or it is more important to be honest on the idea. But both of them, Ruben, when you sketch, for me, when you make a sketch, you should always have creativity, okay, that is motivating you to make that sketch, of course. Then you have line quality, shading quality. If you want to put some highlights because you are using markers, chalk, whatever, the quality of those highlights, the quality of your perspective, the quality of your proportions, it's all together. It's normal. Would you say it's better, that's method, would you say it's better to present final vehicle rendering surrounding when it be used or a studio shot? When you make a rendering, there are two ways. When we make a presentation just between us to really analyze the model, in general, we do it in studio shot, okay? Like it's in a room, nice reflectors, and the room has a dark gray walls or white walls. Depends if the car is dark or the car is it's light color, okay? If we had to make something that is for publicity, advertising, something to do a little bit of marketing, then in that case, of course, we can do it in an environment, but it has to be done well, huh? Because sometimes I see pictures are not well done because all those images have to be retouched with Photoshop to make sure that the shading, the depth, it's correct, that the light, the cast shadows, you know, the subject, the colors, you know, everything has to be really super ultra well done. It's not a real designer job, this, it's an illustrator job. Mehrad, there is something called House Bidon in Germany. It's a good, no, in Germany for transportation design, there is Pforzheim, okay? That's the only school in Germany. If you want to be a designer coming from a German design school, you go to Pforzheim Schule. It's the only one, okay, of my friend James Kelly. Sketch Monkey, yes, I know. Andrew 700, yes, he's very nice guy. He's in Miami. He does a lot of tutorials. I follow him sometimes. We are not friends, but we know each other on Instagram and Facebook. I see some of his videos. Very good. Kavish, hey, how you doing? So Contact has a lot of design faults. Everything is so flat. But are you talking about the Contact, the first one or the latest one? The first Contact. Because I'm talking about the first one. Can you talk a little bit on topic from study or former exploration? It would be a great help. Country is so bad. Yeah, Kavish. Okay, Kavish. You guys ask me a question, very simple question. Which car do you like? Not which car do you buy to drive every day. The way is it a beautiful car or is it an ugly car? You understand? That's what I'm saying. So when I see the Countach, and I think that when that car was designed, okay, I was 5 years old, so we are early 70s. I think that they had an incredible creativity, Marcello Gandini in Bertone, to make such a car that became a classic piece in automobile history. You understand? Can you imagine the 70s, the cars we had in production, and what they did? So that's a beautiful piece of art, You know, it's really like Lamborghini Miura. Like, again, Marcello Gandini. It's a piece of art. So then, yes, it's true that the ergonomics is not nice. But a lot of cars today don't have a very good ergonomics, you know. Pagani design, it's not bad, but I find it a little bit too complicated. But Pagani, it's an excellent company that has a lot of things in Italy and very good designers. It's just a style that is a little bit a supercar, a more American style probably, with lots of elements, material stuff. But it's okay. Method, again, contagista compromise for computer safety. To be sexy and awesome. Exactly. I think I agree with Method, what Method wrote. Michelangelo, ciao, like the Stratos. Yeah, Stratos. Lancia Stratos from Bertone. That's another piece of art. It is another piece of art. Really. The Stratos, it's... go and check it out. One of my favorite. I made also a nice illustration of the Stratos. Red Stratos. Pratap Bose, yes, Kavish. Pratap is a very, very good designer, design manager, and top VP design at Tata. Pratap is someone that I got to know, not personally, but online. And I sort of met him when we did, I was head of the Renault Design Academy India in Chennai in 2017. At that time, Pratap was following us because we were making videos from the design studio. I was making interviews, and this special internship was kind of nice. It ended up really well, and Pratap was one of our followers, our fan, you know, one of our tifoso of that program. And since then, we got a sort of an internet friendship. Okay. I think I answered to you. Any other question? We are 23. That's very good. So let me tell you the last thing about the design process too, so that we complete with the topic of today, is that that final model, it's very important that is perfectly done. This means that when the clay modelers will be working the final surfacing, when they will be doing the final surfacing of the clay before paint, that surfacing should be almost perfect. So it is really a finesse job of the clay modelers that will be extremely important to make sure that when you put the paint, you will not have any defaults on those surfaces. Okay, so that model, it's not a rough model like the very early clay model, but the last one, it's like I would say perfection, even if perfection does not exist. Another question: the mirrors of the Pagani reminds me of Dame Edna with her glasses. Yeah, JKL. Okay, cool. Okay, guys, I think I said it all for today also. It was our It's Friday Design Talk. If you want to offer me a coffee or a beer, you have a super chat $ there in the chat. You can click it. If not, it's okay the same. Thank you very much for being with me. Don't forget, next Tuesday, I'll be here with another video sketching with you, okay? And if you want to be part of the online course I'm having on Thursday, because I have only place on Thursdays, you have in the chat my email. Please write to me. I will explain to you how it is. It has a cost, but a very minimum cost of €5 for 2 hours with me on every Thursday, okay? So let me see the last one. Mr. Bove, do you think it's possible to become a car design through Delft Industrial Design? Gerd, yes, it is possible if your portfolio, your car design portfolio, it's very, very good, including your product portfolio or part of your portfolio in it, okay? Norbert, ciao, how are you? How do you think design will change in the future, and what are the things to concentrate on? Imagine, okay, that's a very nice question, Norbert, thank you. You want to put me in difficulties? Very nice. No, I'm joking. The future, it's never gonna be like it was our past, that's for sure. And it's not gonna be the way it is today. In automobile industry, which has been a very conservative field, you know, if you consider the evolution of cars in 100 years, we can say that we are still conservative. You know, if you think that a product like a telephone every 6 months, oh, thank you very much, Walter Guevara, thank you. We got the super chat from Walter. Thanks, I really appreciate. Thank you. So, but what happens now? Because you understand, all of you, that we're in a big turning point, you know, big turning point because of COVID virus that forced every people in the world to accelerate with technology, to accelerate to be, how can I say, to defend ourselves, and most of all, to live in a different way compared to we used to live in the past. We don't have a war, but we are living a life almost like if it were a war. Because we are very often at home, we cannot have an exchange with people, you know, we cannot touch people yet, we don't have yet a vaccine. Thank you very much, Walter. I keep on watching this beautiful animation. Thanks to you. And so, the whole world, the whole companies, but also politicians, governments, we all thinking about new deals. Look, United States, the Green Deal. Look, Europe, the green transition. Look, European countries, the European Young Generation Pact. Those, what does it mean, those projects, those big, huge projects? It means to push societies, companies, people to make an extra step to be more ecologic, more green, more clean, save the planet, make sure that we can save ourselves from virus better than we did in the last couple of years, the last year. Make sure that technology are better, more efficient. Make sure that to take care of planet we develop hybrid cars or electric cars or hydrogen cars or whatever you want, you know, that is really efficient, you know, that doesn't get provokes problems on peoples or other populations. So there is a big acceleration, and all this is reflecting in automobile industry, of course. And it will be also in the housing, engineering, architecture industry, in terms of what materials we need to use and stuff like that to be better, to live better and safer, healthy, you know, in our house. And also food, the same thing. So the automobile industry is getting a strong acceleration. And you can see many car companies are announcing, you know, a different type of philosophy, new vision and stuff like that. And that's good. That's very good. So we have to wait and see. Of course, everybody's talking about electric. It's true. Everybody's talking about alternative engines. It's true. For example, trucks, you know, buses, big airplanes, you know, are they going to be, you know, with the same technology, or are also they are changing? And what about the big ships, you know, that also make provoke pollutions? I know that there is a lot of technology understudy and prototypes. I see sometimes, you can see also on TV, it's nothing secret. On some Discovery Channel stuff, you can find lots of interesting documentaries where they show you the latest technology that have been using, experimenting, all prototyping. So Norbert, I think that I already answered to you. A lot of things are changing in a faster way compared to before, that's for sure. And design has to follow. So how design is going to follow? That's a very good question. It depends on the company, philosophy, on the people, on the designer, the way we do, the way we will act. Okay, we'll see. All right? More than this, I can't say. Good, thanks. Okay, good. So you got it. Marco Duarte is 30 years old, too late as a designer. Marco, I'm sorry, but for me, yes, 30 years old. What does it mean? You are 30, you already have a degree, a car design degree, transportation design degree, industrial design degree. Let me know, because if you don't have it yet, for me, it's your age it's too old. Sorry. Ruben, Luciano, my last question. Do you think the speed form are becoming too repetitive in the design sketching process? Speed form, it's another way to do brainstorming. There are people that don't use speed forms and do sketching, brainstorming. So speed form, it's one of the tools, okay, in the methodology that the people can use, to exercise creativity. Try to do something that is a little bit blue sky, out of the box, as we say. Okay, Marco, yes, what? That you already have a car design degree? I didn't understand, yes or not? Norbert, thank you. Okay, good. I'm glad I kind of answered to your question. Which country is the best to study in for someone who doesn't have a lot of money? Okay, if you want to study car design, in Europe, schools are cheaper than America. This is something that everybody knows it, okay? Now, there are little differences in cost. If we see the schools that are in Torino, the schools that are in Germany, or the schools that are in France, and stuff like that, okay? But then you have also to add, the living cost, okay? And that depends on your money exchange currency. So on that, I don't know. The only thing I can tell you is that about schools, the design schools that cost a little bit less than American schools are in Europe. France, Germany, England, and Italy are fair prices, I have to say. Okay? Which country is the best? Okay, so I answered to that question. All right, so I think I am done. Graduate 2000, but starting working after university, but still want to follow my passion. Yeah, but you graduated in what, Marco? You don't tell me the most important thing. You graduated in 2016 in cosa? Car design or engineering or architecture? I need to know that before I can give you an answer. Okay, I am sure that you can answer me now. Hi, Hit. Mr. Hit Shah, how are you? Any other coffees? Well, at least Walter offered me a dinner with his beautiful super chat. Thank you again. But if somebody wants to offer me a coffee, I'm ready to drink the coffee. Marco, automotive design. Okay, Marco, which school now? Tell me which school. So, which college is best for automobile design for master? Master, I would say that in Milano you have the SPD, Scuola Politecnica di Design, where my friend Michele Leonello is working, okay, SPD, I have right here, it's in Milano. Then you have this one in Torino, and this one in Torino, okay? In France, you have Strat College. That's France, okay? Check the websites, okay? Check the websites. You will find all the information. Cost, how to do, what you have to send in order to be in order to be admitted. So you need a small entry portfolio, of course. All right. Okay. So anybody else? Automotive design. Okay. So I'm still waiting for Marco. You're welcome, Hit. You're welcome. Marco, anyway, if you already have automotive design since 2016 and you are not working in car design since 2016, it's a long time. It's 5 years. So this means that after 5 years, you should redo your portfolio completely, which should be much better than the previous one. And then try. And then when you try, you are 30 years old, which is almost sure that you are off market for the young designers to be hired. And if you don't have other experience before, okay, if you never worked before in car design, I think it's going to become very complicated. So that's why I am saying, I don't want to say no, it's impossible, but I have to say it's so damn difficult that you have to think about it if it's wise to try or to do another job, if you're doing already another job. You understand? Yes, scholarships are possible, no problem. You have to ask the school. Check their websites. Sometimes they have a graphic advertising talking about scholarship, opening with dates and the rules to respect. Or you can ask directly the school via email. They have contact emails, all of them on the website. So you can go and do it, all right? Okay. Well, thank you very much. I hope you're going to have a very good weekend. So, once again, I see you next week. Design Talk. I don't know yet what we'll be talking about, but something we'll find. Something interesting for all of you. Tuesday, don't forget, 5 p.m. there will be the live sketching session, okay? Marco, okay, model understand, should I go Alias modeling could be a very, very good option because a lot of people are still looking for alias modelers. And if you did car design school, it means that you have a feeling that some alias modelers don't have. So that's a plus. Okay? So I will do that. Andrew, you don't think that the Countach 30 years is a bit over designed? I like only the original Countach, only that one. Okay, good. You're welcome to all of you. Ciao. I had fun, and next time I think that this video will be better. At the beginning I was with my microphone off. I was talking like a fish in the water. Okay. Thank you. Ciao. See you. And check my latest videos, okay, if you want. Ciao. Ciao, Marco. Alias model is a good choice, good option. Get into that. Seriously. Listen to me. Bye. Ciao. Good weekend to you.